everybody. These are my top 5 favorite abdominal exercises of all time. They are really core exercises, but they feel like they focus on the abdominal muscles specifically. So today we're going to call them abdominal exercises with the bonus of getting the rest of the core strengthened and involved as well. So one of the things I want to share with you about these exercises, they're derived from Pilates. They're the Pilates Ab Series. If you have not yet taken the plunge into Pilates as a dancer, I highly recommend it. I cannot truly say that there is a better cross-training discipline for you. I don't think Pilates is all you should do, but if you're limited in time, working that core is going to be magic for you as far as improving your technique goes. The other thing that's great about these exercises is once you master them and you get stronger in your core, you can do so many different variations on these exercises that you never get bored. So make sure that you let me know when you're ready for other variations and I will put those up as well. Today we're going to keep it simple. Let's come down onto our backs. If you are not yet familiar with neutral spine, I'm going to go over it really quickly here today, but there is a tutorial on my YouTube channel and there is a post on purealignmentfordancers.com. So make sure that you study that. Neutral spine is key to making sure A, you strengthen your abdominal muscles correctly, and B, the rest of the core is working as well and supporting you, which is critical to us as dancers, not just in these exercises, but you want always your whole core to be balanced and strong as a dancer. So the other thing is we use Pilates breath in these exercises. If you are not familiar, you can find tutorials at the same 2 places. So make sure you familiarize yourself with our breath pattern as well. So we're going to place the feet flat on the floor. Neutral spine, key to making sure this whole core works for us all together. We're going to go through a really brief brush up on how to find it. This is just one method. There are multiple. So you're going to place your thumbs right on your lower ribs, and then you're going to place your middle fingers right on the points of your hip bones, right where they press up toward the ceiling. And you're going to level those 2 points out so that they exist on the same plane. If you were to place a ruler or a level on those 2 points, you should be able to get a nice flat line. So if you tend to be a pelvic tucker, you tend to tuck your pelvis under, your hip bones would be higher and your rib cage would be pressing down into the floor. If you tend to be an archer, your hip or your rib cage would be higher, would be lifted up off the mat, and your hip bones would be dropping down. Neutral is just the in-between, between the tuck and the arch. So once we find it, pelvis and rib cage serve as our anchor. Okay, so once those anchors are in place, we're taking the legs up to the tabletop position, which is just a vertical thigh, knees sitting right over the lower portion of the pelvis. You're going to take your right leg, reach it out in front of you, and then as you pull the right leg in, reach the left leg out. We're not tucking the knees to the chest. You'll see that a lot in Pilates. That's an advanced movement, and really I don't think a super helpful way of doing this movement, because the habit's going to be as soon as we start tucking the knees into the chest that we also tuck the pelvis under. It's about maintaining that neutral so that your back is working with your front. It's a full breath for every switch here, always coming back to that 90-degree angle. I think you'll find in the long run that's a lot more challenging than tucking your knee into your chest. We're going to do a few more of these. If your back is talking a little too much, aim more up toward the ceiling. If you need a little extra challenge, aim more toward the floor, but make sure your anchors stay intact. Let's do one more. And then really quickly, we're going to bring those knees up into the chest. Good. So we also have the option of doing that exercise with the head and shoulders up off the floor. So let's go ahead and bring the feet back down to the floor. Find that neutral spine again. Take the legs up to tabletop. Make sure your 2 anchors are intact. This time you're going to reach your hands toward your knees And you're going to float your head and shoulders up off the floor. Make sure your gaze is forward at your thighs. Right leg reaches. And as the right leg pulls in, the left leg reaches. Full breath every time you switch the legs. So you'll notice that my head and my shoulders, my neck and my upper thoracic spine have gone into what's called flexion or forward bending. But from the base of my chest down, I'm still in that neutral spine. We're going to do just a few more here. Remember, quality over quantity anytime you're doing Pilates. And then we'll take a little break. Knees to chest, head down. Good, so that's our exercise number 1. It's called single bent leg. We're going to take the feet back down to the floor. Find that neutral spine again. Take the legs up to tabletop. And then you're going to straighten your legs, but only as much as you're able without lifting your pelvis or tucking it underneath you. So your anchors are still intact. And then we're going to scissor the legs. 1 up, 1 down. 1 up, 1 down. The range of your scissor is dependent on the strength of your core. So as long as your anchors are still in place, you can take that leg that's moving down quite low to the mat. But if that causes you to arch your back and pull your rib cage away from the floor, you want to make it into a smaller scissor. Couple of other things to know. If your hip flexors are yelling at you a lot, you can try bending your knees. You can also try turnout. We're just going to do a few more. Full breath for every switch. We'll make this our last. And then we can take the knees into the chest. So scissor 2 can be done with the head and shoulders up off the mat. So if you'd like, you can go ahead and try that now. Otherwise, just do another round with the head on the floor. One is not easier than the other. They're just different. So figure out which variation challenges and is going to strengthen your core the most. Find your neutral. Take your legs up to tabletop. And then extend, but remember, only extend as far as you can without lifting any portion of the pelvis up off the mat. If you're ready to float the head and shoulders, we reach toward those knees. We float the head and shoulders up looking forward, and then we create that scissor split. Breathing a nice full breath for every scissor. So every time you switch, right to left, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Remember to review that breathing tutorial if you're not yet familiar, because that's what's really going to help you engage your core. Let's do one more set. And then we'll take a break. Knees to the chest, head down, and we're ready for the next exercise. So that was called scissor. This is called crisscross. We're going to do this one 3 ways, but we won't do as many reps for each. So feet start on the floor, spine is back in that neutral, hands come behind the head. Your elbows are wide and the hands are just creating a cradle for your head. So you don't want to lift from your arms and your hands at all. And you will know if you're doing it because your elbows will come in. So we're going to take one breath just to lift the head and shoulders up off the mat. And then we're going to inhale, center, exhale, twist. Inhale, center, exhale, twist. And again, everything from the base of my chest down is staying in neutral. I'm not allowing my pelvis to tuck under. I'm keeping it in that neutral position. This is your option 1. This is our last one here, because we've got 3 options to go through. Come down, reset that neutral if you need to, and then if you feel like it, just bring your legs up to tabletop. Make sure those knees are at 90 degrees, the hips are at 90 degrees, and when you're ready, take a full breath to float the head and the shoulders. Same thing, inhale, center, exhale, rotate. Inhale, center, exhale, rotate. Inhale, center, exhale, rotate. Good, we'll do one more set here. Really twisting from the waist. And then give yourself a quick little break. You should be feeling the burn by now. I am. Feet to the floor. Spine back into that neutral position. Hands come behind the head one more time. Little tip, if you notice that you do have a tendency to pull on your head with your hands, try just fingertips touching the base of your skull. It's a little less support for your neck, but it's also less likely that you're going to pull your head forward. So legs are going to go up to tabletop. Remember that single bent leg, that first exercise that we did. We're going to take a full breath, lift the head and the shoulders, and then we're going to take an exhale as we twist, an inhale center, an exhale twist, and an inhale center. The tendency or the desire is going to be to want to go really fast. And we see people do this a lot. Slow it down. Use a slow, full breath, exhaling as you rotate, and inhaling as you come to center. And I promise you, it will be so much harder. Let's do it one more time, going in each direction. And then we'll rest. Good, we have 2 more exercises to go. So find that neutral again. This is called double leg stretch. So we've done single leg stretch already. You can probably guess what double leg is. It's both legs at the same time. So finding that neutral spine, bringing those legs back up to that tabletop position. So making sure that our anchors stay firmly connected to the floor. We inhale, reach out. Exhale, draw in just to 90-90. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, draw in. I want you to keep doing that, and I'm going to explain why 90-90 here. Because you might think that if you really tuck your knees up into your chest, you're getting more abdominal work. And you might feel your abdominals more, although I beg to differ on that. But what happens when you tuck your knees up into your chest? Let's do one more, and then we'll take a break while I finish. Relax. So what happens when you tuck your knees up into your chest and you round your spine is your back muscles are no longer participating. They are stretched out, they're not engaged, and that creates imbalance. We're overdoing in the front body, we're doing nothing on the back body, which is going to create a problem. We always want that neutral spine through this region where those abdominal muscles are, so that we can strengthen everything all together rather than one section more than the other. So two more variations of that double leg stretch. Let's find our neutral spine. Let's take the legs back up to that tabletop position. You're going to bring your fingertips and lightly tap the backs of your thighs with your fingertips. And then as your legs reach out, your arms are going to sweep wide and overhead. And then as you come back in, tap the back of your thigh, but don't pull your knees to your chest. Inhale, reach. Exhale, in. Inhale, reach. Exhale, 90-90. Good. Inhale, reach. Exhale, 90-90. One more, because we have one more variation to go here. And relax. So go ahead and find that neutral. Bring those legs back up to tabletop. The last variation is exactly the same as the one we just did, only your head and shoulders stay up the whole time. So if you like, take a full breath to lift the head and the shoulders. Make sure you're looking forward. And then inhale, sweep and reach. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, sweep and reach. Exhale, draw in. We're just going to do 5. Once you become more familiar, you can go ahead and do all of them like this if you want to, or figure out how many of each you'd like to do. Last one. And relax. There are some other videos on my YouTube channel not geared specifically to dancers, but you'll find Pilates core exercises on there where we flow these exercises a little bit more. So when you're ready for flow, you can visit those as well. So go ahead and find that neutral. We've got one more exercise to go. This is called your double straight leg stretch. So we lift the legs back up to tabletop. We extend the legs up toward the ceiling, but again, just like in scissor, only as far as you can without lifting your pelvis off the floor. And then when you're ready, anchor rib cage and pelvis, and inhale. Lower your legs. There should be no movement in your upper body at all. Exhale, lift. So your range of motion may look different from mine. Inhale as you lower. You want to watch arching here. Keep the rib cage connected to the floor. Inhale down. And then when you lift up, there's no lifting your pelvis. There's no pulling that pelvis off the floor or creating momentum. Good. We're going to do one more. Inhaling down and exhaling up. And then we'll bring those knees into the chest. You can take a little rock side to side if you like. Remember, those back muscles, if you stayed in neutral, should have worked for you along with those abdominal muscles. So this is a great way to release them a little bit. And then we'll take the legs out. We'll take the arms overhead and just kind of walk yourself out a little bit. Stretch your center. Close your eyes and breathe. Feel free to stay here as long as you like. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye, but feel free to email me or contact me any other way that you have access, Facebook, Instagram, and let me know how these exercises go for you and if you have any questions. I'll talk to you later.